Oh,
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Amy Holmesy, and welcome to the X39 Patching Podcast. I'm honored to be here this evening with you. I am a Senior Presidential Director, and folks, we have two incredible testimonials. We want to welcome all of you, but especially brand new people on the line tonight joining us for the very first time. We know you're busy, so we do appreciate you taking time out of those busy schedules. And we know the person who invited you cares deeply about you, so you get this information. And you know, folks, we're going to spend about 30 minutes together. Here are our testimonials. We're going to talk briefly about the science and technology behind our product and how you can get it for wholesale. I like wholesale. I bet you do too. David Schmidt is our owner, inventor, scientist, CEO of our company LifeWave. He's a visionary who saw the future of regenerative medicine over 10 years ago. And that is when he discovered how to capture the science of activating your own stem cells with our unique, one-of-a-kind product. And that is, again, what we're going to be talking about. Before we get started, though, I just want you all to know we do have many medical professionals and practitioners who use LifeWave products, but tonight, Bhimi and I are not medical professionals, so we just want you to know the information that is discussed and that we share this evening. If you have a medical condition, you do want to talk to your doctor, physician. We are not here to treat, diagnose, or cure or prevent any disease. And if you're pregnant or nursing, please consult with your physician. With that, I have the honor of introducing my beautiful co-host, Bhimi Cayce. Bhimi is also a Senior Presidential Director with LifeWave, but Bhimi has also been in the natural health space for 40 years. So she's extremely knowledgeable. So Bhimi, why don't you take it away and introduce our very first testimonial?
thank you, Amy, and great to be here with everybody tonight. And I'm super excited for you guys to hear from our first guest. Kiki, I love this name. Kiki is somebody that I've met recently, and she has had some miraculous results. She is 63 years young, and she's done a lot of things in her life, but what she's doing right now is taking care of horses. And she has 8 horses that she tends to every day. And you got to know there's a lot to do with these horses. And, you know, she does a lot of work around the farm, the barn, and everything. And she's going to share some things that have happened to her and how the patches are working. So welcome, Kiki. And please tell us how you got involved, what drew you to this, what was going on before, and what's happening.
Well, good evening, and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure, and I'm excited to tell you about what's happening. As you said, 63. I like to tell everybody I'm 36 because I'm dyslexic.
I love it.
I've been in retail for like 25 years. I was a hairstylist for 30 years. And for about 36 years, I've been doing the horse boarding, taking care of horses. And I have arthritis in my hands, in my feet, in my spine, neck. And that's been going on for probably 30 years, to where the hands are getting crippled. And are we still there?
Yes.
Okay, because I just had something went across the screen. In 92, I got ran over by a horse, and I got a subdural hematoma to the brain and a brain bleed.
Wait, what does it mean to be run over by a horse?
Well, I actually ran over. The horse turned to run from another horse and didn't see me and just ran over me. And it was basically, I don't think a hoof hit my head. It was, according to the neurologist, it was a brain impact, kind of like shaken baby syndrome, you know, or boxers get. So my brain bounced, and it was pretty severe. that I had to bleed. First, they thought I had an ear infection. No, that was a brain bleed. And there was a lot of things that happened after that. I had a little speech problem because of the, and severe pains in the head. Then again in 2016, I kind of blew some discs in my neck from lifting a lot of hay, bales of hay, C3, 4, and 5, and it pinched a nerve off. That gave me like a kind of like you would call sciatica, but it went straight to the head. And that was for months. And I still would have some repercussions from it. I would get blurred vision and pressure in the eyes, head. And it's calmed down some, but it still acts up to where my neck and head really bother me. I started using the LifeWave patches November 8th, this past November, the X39s. And about this 2 weeks in, I was just having constant pain in the back of my head. And it's like, why am I getting this? It was just ungodly, really, really bothering me. And now it has subsided. And from talking with Bhimi, that there's what do you call
It's called retracing.
Retracing. So it's like apparently the nerves were retracing what had been going on, and now it's gone. That pain's gone.
And so how long that retracing was happening? For a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, we're about, like 2 weeks. Yeah.
And you didn't know what was going on. You couldn't understand the pain.
No. Yeah, I had not heard of retracing. I didn't know about that, and that's why I was figuring, why am I getting these pains back again? This pressure that's back in this whole occipital area,
and so now that's completely gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
And I started the X49 in December. I was on the X39 a month, and then I started the X49. So I'm doing both of those, and I have so much more energy. My hands, I would wake up in the morning and couldn't make a fist because they were so stiff. And now I wake up in the morning, I'm not having the stiffness.
And you had had that for how long?
Oh my God. Oh, a good 20 years or so. Yeah. Number one, arthritis, and then holding a manure pick in my hand all day, shoveling. So it's much better.
Okay. And then what about the driving that you went?
Yeah, I had to go see my granddaughter's first Christmas play, and it was a 52-mile drive to get to the little school where she was going to be. And I drove there real quick after work, like at 4:30, get there 5:30, watch the play, half an hour, leave, drive back. And I never got sleepy on the road. I'm one of these people, for the last 10 years, I drive. I'm not on there long, and I can hardly stay awake when I'm driving. I'll have to have food with me to eat to keep awake. And I'm like, I can't believe it. I never got tired once.
That's amazing. And you were driving 40, 50 miles at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I want to jump to, I know you've got one more story that's a little bit gruesome, and we have some pictures to go along with this. So tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Well, on November 27th, I was working in the barn, and I was lifting some feed sacks and putting them in this feed box I have, and it started to slip, and I wanted to make sure it was going in straight. Well, the feed box is like an old freezer, chest freezer, and my arm slid down the side of this freezer going in, and it peeled back and cut my skin, as you can see.
And that's pretty gross. Your skin is just dangling off your arm, right?
Yeah. It went down deep and just peeled all that back. And it was like, oh my God. So I called a friend of mine that's a nurse, and I said, I need you in the morning. I hope you're coming because I got an injury. And I said, I need you to cut this skin off. Well, and she got here and she says, we're not cutting that off. I cleaned it up really good, which was pretty painful to clean up. She says, you're leaving that down because that acts as like a Band-Aid. And everybody said that's seen this, they said, well, that skin's just going to fall off. It'll die and come off. Well, I took my X39 patches that I had used, and instead of just throwing them away, I was taking the used patches and laying them all around the outside of the bandaging that I had. And then pretty soon after I felt that it was good, I actually would lay the patch on the wound. And within 2 weeks, as you'll end up seeing, that it was healing. There you go. That was probably a week later. And then.
And how is your healing normally so that people understand?
Yeah, I don't heal real fast at all. I mean, wounds take a long time, and you can see like there's a patch off to the side. And I was pretty amazed at how it was doing. I'm like, I can't believe this, because even a cat scratch will stay on me for weeks and be sore. And you can see the flap actually did adhere, except for one little tiny spot at the front, and it all regenerated right back on.
And this is within 2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks right there.
So that's pretty phenomenal.
It for me, yes. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Okay, so that's a pretty amazing graphic representation, but wound healing is one of the things that the patch does best because of the GHK, which we'll hear a little bit more about. But my goodness, and since November, you've had wound healing, you've had more energy, your arthritis is starting to go away, your neck injury from all that trauma before, you've had just miraculous healings in a very short time, right?
Yes, I feel as though, yes. I mean, when you suffered with them for so long and then all of a sudden you're feeling good, it's like, oh, yes.
I know. Well, we thank you so much for coming on to share. We'll check back with you. I know it's still early. Thank your granddaughter for being here.
I mean, this is the thing. It's just kind of there's nothing there. It come up.
Yeah,
it's a little red, but it's completely healed over.
We're so
and
happy.
It's been 1 month. Yeah, it's 1 month.
Thank you. You can go around telling all your friends about it.
Well, and I just had a friend here, and I said I was going to late getting on. A friend stopped by, and she had a wound on her chest here. And last week I put a patch over it, and the next day she says, look at this. And she took a picture and she says, look how much better it is. Well, she came back tonight and she says the wound's acting back up because of, she feels as though, because she's a massage therapist and she's massaging these people that have had the vaccines, and she's getting reactions from them. And so we put another one on her tonight.
Okay. We'll follow through and find out about that.
Yes.
Thank you again for sharing. And Amy, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Amy, again, is a senior presidential director, and she's also the owner of My Holistic Club, which is a great new business that is soon launching. So welcome back, Amy.
Thank you, Bhimi. Wow, awesome story, Kiki. We're all happy for you. Love it. So with that, folks, we're going to go to another part of the country. We're going to go to Tampa, Florida. And John, can you hear me? Can you unmute?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Everyone, this is John Sullivan. He's a professor in Tampa, Florida, my neck of the woods, and he is 62 years young. So welcome, John. If you could just share with us this evening what challenges or issues you were dealing with prior to learning about the X39 and wearing it, how long you've been using it, and how are you doing today, John?
Okay, I guess I have to backtrack a little bit. I had a fall in February of this year, and this was before I was using the patches. And I used to run 4 to 5 days a week, run 3 miles or so every day. And when I had the fall, I banged up my knees pretty good, and I couldn't run at all for like 6 months. And so by May, Shirley had convinced me to try the patches, and I immediately, within a week, noticed that I was sleeping better. I was since the last, the turmoil of the last few years, I've been having a little bit of anxiety issues, and I noticed within about 5 days, I was sleeping straight through the night, not waking up in the middle of the night, not having any problem sleeping.
Wow.
And I kind of felt like if I could conquer the sleeping part, I could conquer a lot of the health issues that I was having. And most of them were pretty minor, but they add up after a while. But for years, I've had problems with my lower back. When I was in my 20s, I worked in a meat room in a supermarket, and I used to lift heavy boxes of meat, and I was a tall, skinny beanpole kid, and I started having back problems back then. I've been to chiropractors, and they've given me some relief, but I usually have to keep up with it. And the last chiropractor I went to was really good, and he took X-rays of my back, and he said, "You are just about to the point where you're going to go bone on bone on your lower back," and that was in 2013. So by 2015, I noticed that there was no movement in my lower back as far as any flexibility. I never threw my back out because the bones were just locked together. By September, I started wearing the patches in May. By September, I started noticing little clicking in my lower back. You roll over in bed and all of a sudden you hear a little pop, a little click, a little pop.
So you're getting some mobility back there, John.
Something was happening. It was amazing, and I hadn't felt it in years. And so that was another thing. And also, I'm starting to get my flexibility back. I can bend down and touch the ground. I used to have trouble tying my own shoes, and so now that's gone. I have no problem with that. And then another thing, in 2018, I started going to a physician here in Tampa, and he said, "Well, you haven't been to a doctor in a while. I want to do some blood work on you and do all the whole array of things." And he turns out, he says, "You're doing fine, but your cholesterol is 303. Now, anybody who's ever had high cholesterol knows that 303 is really bad." And I even knew that when he said 303, I was like, "Oh my God." And he says, I don't want to put anything in your body that doesn't belong in your body. And this is why I like my physician. But he said, "You might want to consider going on a cholesterol medication." I said, "Hold on. I've decided I'm going to start running, and I'm going to change my whole lifestyle around and everything." And so I brought my cholesterol down, and it was hovering around 216, 225, around that. And then I started on the patches in May. In September, I went to a doctor's appointment. I was 186.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. And
So hold on one second, John. So let me just ask you a question here. So when you got the cholesterol checked again, did you change anything? Did you change your lifestyle? Were you eating differently?
no, in fact, usually I was trying to, Shirley's the nutritionist, my wife, and she feeds me with great food all the time, and she doesn't let me cheat on my diet and all that sort of thing. And so, so my diet had stayed the same. In fact, one of the things that had changed in a negative way was I wasn't exercising as much because I couldn't start running until September. So I fell in February, and I was 6 months without being able to run. And so I started running again in September. And September was when I went back to the doctor. And then we found that my cholesterol had dropped to 186. And it had dropped from like 216 to 186 in
Nice.
6 months. And so that was striking. I was convinced at that point because, I mean, everybody has a little bit of skepticism if they've never heard of these patches and things like that. And I had a conversation with Bob Campbell, and I had told him, I said, you probably hear this all the time. And I said, but you know, what are these Band-Aids going to do for my health? You know, are they really going to help? Well, I'm convinced now. They really are. And a couple other things was that my hair, I grow a beard around Christmas time, and I never really had a full beard, but this year it seems fuller. And even other people have commented on it and saying it's fuller. And Shirley sees the back of my head, and she says she thinks that my hair is returning back to its normal color. I can't see it, so I can't tell you.
Turn your head around.
I don't know. My hair-
There you go.
That does look darker.
That's dark.
And so, and then finally, I introduced when I started running again, I introduced the X39 patch, and I noticed that in the past, I would run on a Monday, and Tuesday I'd be sore, Wednesday I'd be really sore, and I'd have to wait till Thursday to run again. With the X49, I would run on Monday, be a little bit sore on Tuesday, and run again on Wednesday. And I trained for 2 5K road races, one in November and one in December. Now this is after taking 6 months off from running and then starting again in September. I started my training in September, and I was able to run, and I came in second in my age group in the December one.
Wow.
And in addition to that, I lost 15 pounds, and
Whoop, whoop.
I'm
And I know you're sleeping better, right, John?
sleeping like a baby. I don't wake up in the middle of the night having these anxiety attacks. And I mean, I would have anxiety about stupid things. I mean, things that were never going to happen to anybody. And I would just worry about them. It was just constant worrying. And it is all came about in the last couple of years, you know, with all the turmoil in the last couple of years. And it's gone.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me just do a quick recap. So you've had back problems and bone on bone for many years. You were very stiff with very little flexibility. Now you have some flexibility. You're running again. You're sleeping much better and more soundly, which can help all kinds of things, right? And your hair is turning, you know, I know it's salt and pepper, but it's turning darker again. Your beard is growing in thicker and fuller. We hear that a lot with hair. By the way, you've lost 15 pounds without doing anything differently. You didn't change your lifestyle. You didn't change your diet. You lost 15 pounds, and you just feel, and Shirley told me that you look younger.
I feel younger, and I just want to go back to the 15 pounds. My exercise regime had cut back dramatically because of the injuries I sustained in the fall. So I was pretty much walking was about the only exercise I could do, and maybe a little bit of light bike riding. But I was able to lose the weight with less exercise and wearing the patches.
Absolutely. Well, we love it, and we are all happy for you, John, and we so appreciate you coming on here and sharing this. And I'll tell you what, I would love to reconnect maybe in about 3 months, okay? And we'll have an update. So thank you very much, and you and Shirley have a happy, blessed New Year.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. With that, folks, I'm going to turn it back over to Bhimi, and she's going to share with you how our remarkable technology works. Bhimi?
Okay, thank you. That was an incredible testimonial. Both of these tonight were awesome. Thank you both very much. And so you're wondering, how does this patch work? It looks like this, and it's wafer thin. It looks like a Band-Aid. It's non-transdermal, non-invasive, and there are no ingredients. So what makes it work? There's somebody that needs muting. So what makes it work? Well, it is a blend of nano organic crystals of amino acids, water, salt, and sugar. And it forms this crystal lattice. It's a structure. And what happens is when you put it on, the light and heat from your body activate that. And that structure absorbs and traps the body's infrared light and heat. And it shines back a part of that infrared spectrum into the body. And what's happening is the communication pathway is set up, and that light starts to trigger a biochemical change in the receptors in the skin and in the cells. So the patches aren't healing, they're actually setting up that communication pathway for the body to heal. It's much like when you go out in the sun and your body, the sun hits your body and it starts making vitamin D. Well, the same thing is happening when the wavelength goes into the body. It first hits what's called GHK, copper peptide, and this is a gene modulator. This is why Cayce had such dramatic healing, because this is one of the things GHK is known for. It's a master signaling molecule, and it resets over 4,000 genes within 48 hours. And also it's starting to repair the DNA. But most importantly, it's activating the body to make younger stem cells. And this whole process we call photobiomodulation. And so what we recommend for everyone is to wear the patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off, usually during the day, because you need to be drinking a lot of water, and also take a good mineral supplement. And our experience is that 50% of the people feel something more quickly within the first month or so, and 50% it takes anywhere from 2 to 4 months. And so that's why we recommend a 90-day protocol. And those of you who are on the call that are older than 60, just know that your stem cells and your GHK are down about 80% in production. So that's why putting the patch on is such an incredible turn on. It's like flipping the light on inside the body, and the body starts to go into regeneration and repair. And so the body is starting to go, the stem cells will go and heal where the body is having dysfunction. So that's how the science works. So Amy, I'd like to bring you back on. Tell us a little bit about the company and how people can get their hands on the product.
Thank you, Bhimi. Folks, LifeWave is a 20-year-old biotech global company. We are in 81 countries. And again, the man behind this unparalleled wearable health technology is David Schmidt, a scientist first and foremost. He has over 94 patents on his products, and 70 of those patents are in regenerative science, and that's his passion. David Schmidt's passion is to help people feel better, look younger, lead more joyful lives. And what we're basically doing, folks, activating your own stem cells. When we put newer stem cells on older tissue, we can make that tissue younger again. I want you to think about that. Okay, a 20-year-old global company. By the way, we have zero competition. No one else can have this technology for 20 years. When I looked at this for the very first time 2.5 years ago, that really got me excited. Okay, first of all, I got results, but I'm thinking, really, there's no competition. We're a global company. You're up and running in 5 minutes. So think about that. So there's a couple ways to get your hands on this technology. We want you to pay wholesale, right? We don't want you to pay retail. We want you to pay wholesale. We have an incredible preferred customer program where you could save money and get wholesale and get some samples, but where you could also have a wholesale package like Bhimi and I did and other people on the line. And we have 5 different packages, folks. And the bigger the package, the more product you get, the more money you save. So we like to say, get in where you fit in, where it's comfortable for you. But try this product. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee, okay? And we have scientific studies that show that you sleep better, wound healing. We saw that with Cayce, right? Those images were incredible. Deeper sleep, more energy, wound healing, better mental clarity, and more energy. Who do you know that doesn't need that, right? Again, a 30-day money back guarantee. There's nothing to lose. So what we would like you to do is get back to the person who got you on this call. Get your questions answered. We will also be back here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. with Marcy and Dr. Stacy with more testimonials. And you could also go to www.startx39now.com, startx39now.com. There's more technology and scientific studies on that website as well. But get started today. You have nothing to lose, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Bye.
Nice seeing
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Wonderful.